We hope you don't have cancer, but if you do, this show's for you. The Stupid Cancer Show!
Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Stupid Cancer Show right here in downtown Manhattan at Stupid Cancer YouTube Studios. I just made that up, but here we are. I am joined today by an OG BFF from the old school days of the I'm Too Young for This Cancer Foundation, which we'll get to in a second. Aalia Lanius, welcome back to the Stupid Cancer Show, because you were on the show when it was an audio podcast a trillion years ago.
Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
When dinosaurs, true.
Just kidding.
It is so great to see you again, to have you. You've never physically been to the office.
Right.
So welcome to the studios within New York. What brings you into New York?
I'm actually doing the Book Expo, or attending the Book Expo here at the Convention Center in Manhattan. And then this evening I have a book signing at Tafara Pizza in Brooklyn, the world-famous Tafara Pizza.
Tafara Pizza. No, we'll put a link below to Tafara Pizza for you guys when you're in Brooklyn.
Who, by the way, the daughter is a very good friend of mine, also connected through I'm Too Young for This, the OG crew. And the daughter is a breast cancer survivor who's a very good friend. So when I said I'm coming to New York, she said, we'll host your event. We'd love to support. And so, that's the kind of people we are. We're good to each other.
Mishpacha.
What does that mean?
That's a Yiddish word. It means family.
Okay, yes.
So you mentioned the book. We'll get to the book in a second. But just for context, Stupid Cancer, many, many years ago, was also called the I'm Too Young for This Cancer Foundation. And its origins in 2006, 2007. It was the first real Facebook group back when Facebook mattered and did good things that brought together young adults with cancer, of which you were one.
Right. Literally, I was... Yes. My story, I was in the hospital. I only had a Wi-Fi connection in my laptop. I remember my children had been taken by my sister at the time, who took care of them for me. And there I was, peeing in bowls for the nurse. And then I'm like, because it's, wonderful experience.
Things you can't unsee.
And I opened my laptop and I just said, it's really time for me to reach out, because at the initial part of my journey, I just kept it all to myself. I didn't reach out. I was very private. Right. And that was more harmful than good, as I, later realized.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. So lucky for me, or very fortunate for me, I was able to put into my laptop and Facebook at the time, cancer, cancer groups. And the original group, I'm Too Young for This, came up, and it connected me with you. You answered immediately. You're one, hey, I'm in the hospital with cancer. And you're like, oh my God, we're here for you. What can we do? We support you.
Yeah. I did something right.
You did.
But let's get context.
Yes.
So you were diagnosed at 32 years old with cervical cancer.
Yes.
And then just a few months later, because that wasn't good enough,
right?
You doubled down. You got esophageal cancer as a young, non-smoking woman.
Yes. The only connection I had to esophageal cancer was that my grandfather had passed away from it. So I was very fortunate. I always say maybe, I try to always look for the good in everything.
Right.
Maybe I got the first cancer, so the second one could be found so easily and quickly.
Wait, so they found the second one because of the first one?
Because
largely?
I kept complaining something was wrong. We talk about being an advocate for yourself. If you're dealing with health issues, I love and respect my doctors, but I remember that they work for me.
Yes.
I don't work for them. And so I kept saying something else is going on. And my original oncologist, who was later not my oncologist anymore, said, oh no, you're fine. And I pressed, and sure enough, they went in and found that I had early stage esophageal cancer, which is the fastest killing cancer.
Yes.
I'm not certain if you're aware of that.
Yes.
And so I was very fortunate.
And at 32, which it's the least likely thing.
Well, that's the thing. Of course, I was the person who kept hearing, you look great, you're fine, you're too young for that, you shouldn't have this, you don't have any pre-existing qualifications. And yet, here I am.
And here we are.
Here I am, a survivor of it.
So it's prophetic that back when the internet actually did its job, you were able to connect to a young adult community of people who got it, understood that.
Yeah.
And it's so much more difficult these days because of so much noise. Can you talk to us about what it was like to get through it? And we're 10 years ago at this point, where things are very different. But you met a strong community. You partook in that community, and you now gave back to that community. Let's talk about some of the folks that came into our lives back then, like Stephanie.
Stephanie LaRue.
Yes.
So Stephanie LaRue, today is her 1-year anniversary from passing away. Those of you who know her name know her well.
Rest in peace, Stephanie.
Yes, rest in peace. But she really
she was an advocate. She taught me how to advocate.
Amazing.
Too. Yeah.
Badass, beautiful
model.
Was given 8 months to live, and somehow
she had, stage 4 metastatic breast cancer.
Yes, and still managed to pull another 10 years out of it. I mean, it was amazing, and do so much during that time, including I was at her house for a barbecue in Venice, and I was about to get a full hysterectomy, because my gyno-oncologist was like, well, you shouldn't have had these cancers, so let's just take everything out to be safe. And Stephanie, knowing my diagnosis and knowing some of my journey just as a breast cancer, and having had everything taken out of her, she said, her advice to me was, listen, you can do what you want. My advice is to you not. Be proactive, you're early stage, don't let them take it out. I didn't, and I literally didn't.
But you already had children at the time, too.
I did, and so that was kind of the thing. But see, this also goes into you never know what your future holds.
Right, exactly.
I was married at that time to my ex-husband. I had 3 children. I thought, I don't want any children, but like anybody and anyone in the cancer community is going to understand this. Even if I have kids, nobody likes being told, we're going to take this part of you.
Yeah.
We're going to make this a final done deal. We're going to make this done. And so it was still emotional for me. And I took her advice. I didn't get it done. I maintained my appointments. I've remained cancer-free in that area since then. And I did get divorced. And I met an amazing man who actually did not have any children of his own and did want to have at least one. Now that he has that one, by the way, he's like, oh, wow, this is what everyone's talking about. I'm like, yeah,
Wait, how old's your youngest now?
She's 16 months.
So 16 months old, yeah.
So I have a 21-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
You are
16-month-old, excuse me. You talk about Groundhog's Day?
Yeah.
I kid you not. I feel like I've been doing the same thing. But I love her. I just, I think and I'm very honest and candid about this, having her has been a joy. But physically for me, after cancer, it was the one child I had after cancer. It's been a lot. It's been a lot more physically
You're a
taxing.
different person, physically, emotionally,
Exactly.
pragmatically. Yes, it changes you.
It changes.
And aging.
Yes, well, that too.
Aging gracefully, I might add.
I turned 43 a month from today.
Your birthday is?
I'm June 30th.
June 30th.
So June 30th, I'll be 43, and I say it. People laugh. They're like, but you tell it. I'm like, of course, I embrace it. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm glad I'm here.
I just turned 44. I never thought I'd be 44.
Exactly. That's
it's
the
a blessing
key. That's
to be
the key.
44.
It's like when you look forward to blowing out some candles, even if you're like huffing and puffing to blow them out,
We just said that at the same time.
Right. So yeah.
So let's talk about your career. What were you doing at the time when you were first diagnosed? You had 3 children. You were married. What was your life?
Well, we had a business. We had a retail business, and we were starting that, and that grew to be a multi-million-dollar retail chain, Metro PCS.
Metro, wow.
Yeah, we were one of the first dealers with them, and grew our business. And my ex-husband has it now. It's very successful, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy to have been part of that growth. But so life doesn't stop when you have cancer. I had my kids still bang.
Yeah, they don't know.
I want to go outside and play.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, hold on. Let me pull myself out of bed. You still have to give the baths.
And this is the young adult cancer narrative. Why we're different. Like, we have young children that still want to go out and play. They don't understand mommy has a boo-boo.
Yes, they don't. Especially when they come in.
Or 2 boo-boos.
Right? I know, especially if you're like, have had surgery and then they're like come and bang on you and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
But, it's, I think that the more honest and open we are about these topics, the more people who are going to go through them. I have a lot of people who reach out to me and they're about to start that process. Yeah. And it's
the wisdom of experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
And giving them hope that, okay, this is not going to be fun, but you can get through it. You absolutely can get through it. And, look, the first year, going back to that original group of amazing individuals that I was connected with, 7 of them passed away the first year that I died, that I was close with. 7 women passed away that were amazing, that were strong, that were powerful. So what I've learned is to always say, my journey is going to end at some point. I know that. None of us are getting. I one time had someone tell me, oh, you have cancer? Does that mean you're going to die? And I was like, yeah, but guess what? So are you.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. What is it? no one gets out of this life alive, Yogi Berra or something like
Yeah,
that.
we're not. None of us are getting
That's
out.
like the worst platitude. I'm so sorry I just said that.
But at the same token, I think that what's so the gift about our community is we're kind of more aware of that than people
Yes.
realize. Other people are kind of
Heightened mortality.
yes,
The joys of heightened mortality.
right. Like it changed you and how you're present.
Yeah.
You talk about what I was going through when I had cancer. I think now to what I'm doing now, like last year, I definitely since then started living my bucket list, and I haven't stopped. I call it. I know it's like so people are like I don't like calling it a bucket list. I'm
But
like,
I mean,
okay.
getting remarried changed your whole direction, your whole life too.
Yes.
Not just having a fourth child, but
No.
still.
No, getting married again and retesting because, what the book and what I'm passionate about is healthy relationships.
Right.
Healthy relationships connect to healthy body, healthy mind. People, when they would hear I had cancer, would always say, I say this over there, life is short. I hear that all the time. Life is short, life is short, life is short. And I'm like, yeah, but it's terribly long if you're miserable.
Yeah.
And
There's
that
like
is
an inverse proportion to how miserable you are and how long things get.
right.
Yeah.
And also how exactly life is short and it's meant to be lived, but so many of us can get stuck in situations or allow ourselves to be in situations
Right.
that make life to where you kind of start to wonder, well, what am I here for?
Yeah.
And you should never feel like that.
Well,
I was
purpose
I was
is
in
hard to-
Ibiza last year, and I'm like, I'm sitting in Ibiza under the sun in a pool, and I'm just amazed that I'm fortunate enough to be here.
So let's get to the book because
Yes.
so we were talking before the show about how everyone's like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. No, I'm going to write a book. And you actually wrote a
Yes, I
book.
wrote a
It's
book.
called Tough Love. We'll zoom in on this in a bit and put links in the description below. Tough Love, a novel by Aalia Lanius. Tell us the inspiration behind this, beyond what might be obvious.
Right. So the inspiration was really people messaging me. I had a lot of people who knew my life, who knew of my life. They knew I had gone through one of those picture perfect marriages that really wasn't so picture perfect.
Right.
And they knew I got divorced. They knew I got remarried to this amazing man, and they see me living this life. And I would get constant messages from women who would say to me, "Your story has inspired me. Your story has given me hope. You don't know what you've done for me." And while that's immensely humbling, I'm like, you don't even know the whole story.
Right.
You actually, and because I didn't share it. Like most people on Facebook, we're not putting when our husbands beat our ass.
No.
Or when
Hey, now.
things happen that aren't so pleasant. We're not sharing
Right.
that as much.
That's private.
At least I'm not the part.
Yeah.
I'm not that. Maybe some people do. It came to a point where it wasn't a matter of if I should write it. It was like I had to write it.
Right.
And I chose an autobiographical fiction. So because I also am a storyteller and a writer, I really am. I consider myself an artist. I'm continuing to write books that aren't really based on my life per se, but this was the starting place for me. This story is important. It was important for me to share, and it's going to resonate with a lot of people, and it has. And this journey is, again, going back to a woman who is kind of
And her name is Elena.
Elena. I know people. I can't imagine where people are going to make the connection between Elena and Aalia, right?
Yeah.
Her story is, she's a mom, she's a wife. She finds out she has cancer again, and it comes to a point where she really has to start thinking, it's me that's got to live this life. I need to be healthy. I need to be happy. This situation is not healthy for me, and it's not conducive to what I'm here for.
Right.
And the fear of breaking through that, moving forward, and getting past that for her, and possibly finding new love. It's so funny. A lot of people are like, what happens? I'm like,
Right.
well, I intentionally have kind
Gotta
of
read the
left
book.
it. Got to read it, and then there'll be another one coming out, and it's done with people. It's sold in
Tough
6
Love,
countries.
the sequel, the Tough
Yes.
Lovening.
My husband came up with another name, and it's so funny. I can't remember it off the top of my head now. We talked about memory.
Yeah.
But it was a good one. I'm like, oh, I like that. Okay, because it will be, the first one will be like tough love, and then the second one will be like stronger love. I think it's
Oh,
stronger
God.
love, and then I'm like, okay. And then he's like, and then you do a third
51
one that's
Shades
like,
of Tough Love.
exactly.
Yes.
The third one will be forever love.
Oh
I'm
God.
like-
Yes. Happy endings, right? But I'm really proud of you.
Yeah.
A lot of people write books, but it's not about you. there's a message and a story about this.
Sure.
Everyone wants to share their stories, but this is the way to share your story and make a point
Sure.
and engage people.
Well, and be empowered. That's just
Right.
it. I always tell people we all have a story. Not everyone gets to share it. But for me, it's empowering to finally be able to share with people the truth, some inspiration, and hope. My big thing is there's always hope in the dark.
Yeah.
Always hope in the dark, and put on some lipstick, and even when you don't feel like it, not you, of course, but don't put on lipstick.
You never know.
But put on some red lipstick, some heels, and go embrace life. And that's more of a metaphor. I'm not saying literally.
Well, I have a dear friend named Geraldine Lucas, if you know her. She wrote a book called Why
Yes.
I Wore Lipstick to My Mastectomy. It was
Yes.
one of the first young adult cancer books about just being a rebel,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no makeup allowed in the operating room. She wore makeup
Yes.
to the operating room.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
funny how we know that. When you say that, see, my mind goes, yes, no, nothing, or no nail polish, so they can see the color of our nails.
Yeah.
And no jewelry. You come in something, I know those rules too. And like her as a rebel, that's the thing. It's like there's a part of this book that's rebel in the sense she's been taught once you get married, you stay married until the end.
Yep.
No matter what. And I think that in today's world, and not that I'm an advocate for divorce, because I'm absolutely not. I'm an underdog. I'm a romantic. I
Yeah.
always, but and also for women who stay in relationships that are, who have been cheated on or things like
Right.
that. Some people consider those women weak. People often say to me, "Well, I can't believe when I read this that you went through all that and you stuck around. You're such a strong person." I'm like, exactly. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
the type of person, you hit me, I'm coming back up. I'm
Right.
that inflatable doll. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. And
Weebles
so,
wobble, but they don't fall down.
No, they don't fall down. I always say, if I fall down, I'm getting back up because I don't belong down there.
Yeah.
Neither do you. So
let's close this up by talking about the fabulous late effects of stupid cancer, and how it's the gift that keeps on giving,
Yes.
and the scanxiety never goes away. But
Nope.
that's okay, because we're here, we matter, we're not better or worse, but we're different.
yes.
And this is what beating cancer and living on your terms, or getting busy living, means to the young adult cancer story. So what is your big takeaway on how to deal with all the shit that happens because you very thankfully didn't die?
I mean, I think we're kind of badass. I mean, we're badass. People come to me and it's like, "Oh, cancer, it's so depressing." I'm like, "For real?" I'm not. My biggest takeaway is that, again, it's from here to A to Z, we have a journey. Make the most of it, make the best of it, be positive. Our journey always starts here. It's not that it's going to fix everything. When people say, "Oh, my journey with cancer is decided up here," that's actually not true in my perspective. My belief is it starts here,
Right.
but it's not like, and I say that because we've had amazing people who've been very strong mentally, and that just there was nothing that could come in between destiny and that time. So since I don't know when that time is going to be, from now till then, I'm just going to continue to be badass, and I encourage other people to be badass. I'm around celebrities. My husband makes movies, and I sit down and have amazing conversations with amazing people but I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, "Oh, you're cool, but I'm really the celebrity here because, you're just making movies."
Yeah.
I'm actually just kidding.
We're going to get celebrity hate.
We're going to
From
get
the one celebrity that watches the show, we're going to get celebrity hate.
No. It's true though. I mean, I think that we should respect ourselves more and respect our journeys, and recognize that we're so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit. We're not these meek little, we have times where we're not as strong as we can be,
Right.
but that doesn't mean we don't need support.
Right.
But we're not some weak, feeble little people. We're rock stars.
Yeah.
And
We're all rock stars, yeah.
and we that's why if you go to a Stupid Cancer event or Cancer Con, you realize you are in the presence of celebrities and rock stars
Yep.
and people really living life. And I love
Amen
that.
to that.
And I love what you do, because that's what's been so phenomenal about this organization, Matthew. You have connected people. I think at the end of the day, that's been one of your biggest desires. And you do that. And you do that so well. And you empower others. And you've been part of my journey to empower me. You're definitely part of my road that led to this. So thank you.
I made a book.
Yes, he made a book. He's going to be asking me for royalties now.
Tough Love in the Matthew Zachary Volume 2.
Yes, we'll write you in for sure. We'll give you a part.
Aalia Lanius joining us here on this episode of the Stupid Cancer Show. The book is Tough Love. We will put a link in the description below where you can buy it on Amazon and other places.
Barnes & Nobles has it. I get messages from people in Poland. It's been in the UK, in Australia. I love it. It's really resonating with women and men around the world. It's pretty cool.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
again on your survivorship of stupid cancer. The fact that you have 4 children. I worship at the altar of your parental tolerance. And, you are a classic example of how to get busy living.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you very much for coming on the show.
Takes one to know one.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thanks
All
for
right,
having me.
guys. We'll see you next time right here on the Stupid Cancer Show. Stay tuned. Bye-bye. Hello, friends. Do you like making young adult cancer suck less? Because I do. So if you do, be sure to click that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an episode of the Stupid Cancer Show. And follow us on social and all those things you crazy kids do.